Hello, I'm Brian Fox. Welcome to my channel, I Hate Rock Music. Today I'm going to do another one of my videos about great lost rock albums that I still dream about. And in this case, it's what should have been a third Blue Cheer album with Randy Holden. And I realized that there is a third Blue Cheer album called New Improved, and half of it was with Randy Holden. But the plans were for that third album to be a full power trio with Randy Holden on all of it. And so I still dream about that because apparently it was a lot closer to a reality than we think sometimes. And what a schizophrenic record. And so after Blue Cheer, Leigh Stevens left Blue Cheer in 1968. They went in search of a new guitar player, and they came up with Randy Holden, and he was in another San Francisco heavy psych band called The Other Half. And apparently, he was even asked. He was so good, he was even asked to join the Yardbirds prior to being a member of The Other Half. And so, The Other Half record definitely shows a lot of what Randy Holden's capable of, and seems like a natural choice for Blue Cheer. And this is where it gets interesting, of course, because Randy Holden was brought in on guitar by Blue Cheer, and one of the issues they had and why it didn't continue is because apparently Dickie Peterson had fantasies of moving into more of a roots rock direction, and you can see that on the second half of Blue Cheer's New Improved, and so that's the direction he wanted to go. Apparently, he had decided he was a big fan of the band's music at Big Pink, music from Big Pink. And so that kind of clears up some of my questions about how did Blue Cheer kind of end up going in this other direction. And so, but before that happened, they, of course, were at the height of their popularity after putting out two albums as a power trio. And then they brought Randy Holden in. And so they, of course, worked on a lot of their normal material. But then, and they ended up playing a lot of shows. I read a great interview with Randy Holden where he talked with the fact that he joined the band, and the first thing he did was upgrade their amps and their equipment, and to get a much cleaner sound, a lot louder sound. Thought their sound with their old amps was overdriven and muddy. So he convinced Dickie Peterson to upgrade his equipment. And then another part of the problem is, of course, their producer was Abe Voco-Kesh, and they also had a manager, unscrupulous manager, and both of them were Hell's Angels, so not exactly in the business realm. And so they ended up stealing a lot of money from Blue Cheer, so that was another problem that Randy Holden encountered. And then Randy Holden also encountered the problem that Dickie Peterson was just not reliable, and the fact that Dickie Peterson was a heroin addict really became problematic for the band. And Randy Holden really wanted to push the band and have it be successful, and he thought they could be a truly great band, which they could have been. And he even apparently lined up shows in Japan where they were going to be paid $30,000 a gig, which was really big money back then. So Randy Holden had the right idea. And then it gets interesting because I would assume that they were probably doing some of the normal repertoire of the Blue Cheer off the first two albums. But then Randy Holden started bringing his material in. So, of course, on the record, we have Peace of Mind, Fruit and Icebergs, and I forget the third song. Anyway, the whole side of that record is three Randy Holden originals with him doing vocals. And then when you see pictures of the band playing live at that time period, which reinforces the fact that they were actually out there gigging. Unfortunate that we don't have any live recordings of that lineup of the band. But it looks like the mic setup is for Randy Holden to sing, and he sings the tracks on the Blue Cheer album. And then the bonus tracks on the Randy Holden Population album are also tunes that we know he was doing with Blue Cheer, Not only is Fruit and Icebergs redone by Randy Holden on that album, but there's a tune called Blew My Mind and Keeper of the Flame. And it's possible that those two tunes are actually the 1969 Blue Cheer lineup. They sound very much like the other tunes on the Blue Cheer album, and Randy Holden was doing vocals. So kind of interesting that basically that the new version of Blue Cheer was not going to have Dickie Peterson on vocals, which is kind of odd to me that Randy Holden would come in, but it kind of makes sense. Randy Holden was a pretty good singer, does a great job on those tunes, but the Blue Cheer sound was with Dickie Peterson on vocals. Now, had the band gelled, then perhaps it would have been Dickie Peterson singing if he'd been reliable and not a dope fiend. Um, Perhaps we would have heard Randy Holden on guitar and Dickie Peterson doing the vocals. Or the best situation would be Dickie Peterson doing the vocals and then Randy Holden and Dickie Peterson both contributing vocals and doing harmony vocals, which would have been epic. But wow, I just like me, it didn't happen. It's never going to happen. But the idea that there could have been a third full album by Blue Cheer with Randy Holden playing guitar, and not only that, the possibilities that like the Outside Inside album, Randy Holden doing a Blue Cheer album with overdubs, because the tracks on New Improved are basically the three piece. And it would have been great to see the band do a fully realized studio album complete with overdubs and backup vocals and perhaps some added instrumentation as we saw on Blue Cheer's Outside Inside. But of course, Randy Holden went on to record his own solo record, Randy Holden Population, on Hobbit Records, and he does his own version of Fruit and Icebergs, and it's insanely over the top, truly heavy record. And apparently, he wanted Paul Whaley and Dickie Peterson to be the rhythm section on that record, but he just couldn't get Dickie Peterson to get his shit together. And he made multiple contacts, according to him, in interviews, trying to get Dickie Peterson on board with that, and it didn't happen. So he got another band and put out that record. And apparently, he was using 16 cabinets when he recorded that album, which it sounds like truly heavy record. And listening to that album, once again, we get a glimpse of what could have been an astonishing album by Blue Cheer if Dickie Peterson had gotten his shit together. So between the Randy Holden solo material and the stuff that we have on the half of the New Improved Blue Cheer album, we get a pretty clear picture of what would have been a truly awesome record. And not only that, they probably would have gotten a decent producer that time. Randy Holden seems like he had a pretty good business sense. He would have upgraded their equipment and gotten a real producer, and that third album in 1969 really would have been something. So in the meantime, there's fools like me who still sit around and daydream about how great that could have been. So I'll post a bunch of stuff below. There's also supposedly what is a 1969 sound check by Blue Cheer with Randy Holden doing the song Keeper of the Flame. And so it sounds very much like the version that's a bonus track on Randy Holden's Population solo record. So that's one reason why I suspect the two bonus tracks on the Randy Holden solo album are actually Blue Cheer. And there probably is a lot of legal issues, and that's why he would not release it and point out the fact that it was Blue Cheer, because also reading an interview with Randy Holden, he talked about the fact that he had real issues with Dickie Peterson licensing Blue Cheer albums to Karma Records and reissuing those. Apparently got paid $5,000 and then kept most of the money for himself for heroin. And so there's still, as we see so often, even after all these years, there's still a lot of legal issues involved with all this stuff. But holy shit, I'm gonna go to bed tonight and dream about the third Blue Cheer album that could have been. I'm Brian Fox. Thanks for watching I Hate Rock Music.